Hello, welcome to another Nature Diary painting activity by Maestral Park. Be getting started shortly. So today, I think most of you know the animal that we're going to be drawing. I don't know if you've seen one before. I'm going to share my screen and show you a... Oh, I don't know why it's not coming up. Big. Bear with me. I think I forgot to open it first. Yes, so hopefully you can all see the bird on the screen. It's called a European bee eater, and in Maltese it's called Erd in Nahal. Q's a bit difficult to pronounce in Maltese. So these birds visit the Maltese Islands during the bird migration. So in the spring, all the birds are flying to the north so that they can find more food and places to nest. So they come up from Africa and they visit Malta on the way to countries in the north. So we see them between March and June, and we also see them between August and September when they fly to the south again. It's one of the most colourful birds in Europe, and look at its colours, it's really beautiful. So it's one of the reasons I chose this bird to paint today. So we'll be using lots of different colours. And they usually like to sit on electricity wires, but here it's sitting on a twig, so they like sitting in trees as well. And you usually see them in big groups, and they're very noisy, so you usually hear them first and then you see them. And they like to eat insects like bees and dragonflies, and other types of insects as well. So it's not just bees, even though they're called a bee eater. Okay, let's get started with I'll stop the share. If anybody wants me to send the photo, maybe I'll just send it in the chat anyway. I'll send it all to you all so that you have it. Just in case you want to use it. Okay, there you go. So I've just sent that to everybody in the chat. So yes, let's get started. I'm just going to pin my other video. I think, yeah. There you go. So everybody should see the picture of my painting of the bee eater. Can everybody see that?
No, I see it, but it's not pinned automatically.
It's weird. Oh, spotlight for no. Okay, hang on. Yes, this is the right one.
Yes, now yes.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Suzanne, my assistant. Okay, so I'm going to, so you need your paper to get started. So whichever paper you've chosen to draw on. Make some space for myself. And I've already written March here, and I've written it on the, I've drawn the twig in that the bird's going to be sat on, but you can draw, you can write March later on after we've drawn the bird. It's actually because I forgot to leave space at the top. So I'm, what's the word? I can't think of the word. Well, we all make mistakes, so have to improvise, that's the word. So like we usually do, decide where you want to have your bird. Like I said, there's a twig going through here, but your twig can have a different shape. And I've put the bird here. And the first thing we need to do, always remember to just draw lightly. Keep your hand very relaxed because we don't want too much pencil to show through. And how big you want him to be, him or her. So if you just mark the top that you want the bird to be at, and then mark the bottom just with a straight line. And then I have the photo in front of me to help. You need to measure to make sure the body, the head is too big or too small. So I'm going to make the head about that big. And then if you measure with your pencil, like I'll show you what I'm doing. This is a photo of the bird. And on the photo, you can see that it's about this big if you use your pencil. So then I want to see how many times the head fits into the body. So 1, 2, around 3 until the bottom of the wings. So you do the same on your paper. 1, 2, 3. So the bottom of the wings should be about there. So the head's going to fit here and the body's there, and then the tail is going to be about here. And then it's a bit like we've done before, really. It's like drawing the balloon animal figures. So you draw, and because he's at an angle, so he's kind of sat around there, so you can draw a line if you want to through the middle. So you just need to draw the body as a sort of sausage shape. You see? I just realised there's some more people joining. Hello, welcome. Right, we have started. Sorry, I might not have noticed that you were waiting. Yes?
I cannot see the picture.
Can you see, what's the main video on your screen? Can you see a piece of paper?
Yes.
Okay, so you can't see my drawing then?
I can't see your drawing, but I can't see the picture of the whole bird.
Ah, I sent it. Oh, okay. Somebody else. If you look at the bottom, there's a button called chat.
I am on chat.
Okay, and I sent a file to everybody. If you click on it, it should open. If you double click on the what I sent you, is it not opening?
Okay, thank you. Yes, we
Yeah.
found it.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, so basically so far we've just drawn a long sausage shape here. And then at the top you want to draw a rough circle, which will be the head. Kind of looks like a snowman so far. And then a triangular shape at the bottom for the tail. Okay, so basically that's the rough shape. And we can draw in the beak so that we can draw in the details now, we get the bearings, or more of an idea of the shape of the bird. And he has a very pointy beak. And it's like a hook almost. And we can draw in the eye, which is almost pretty much in the center of the page. That beak's a bit too long. We're keeping it quite light, so if we need to rub things out, we can. Okay, so hopefully everybody's that far. So then we can start to draw around the outline. So his head, the top of his head isn't quite round. If you look carefully. And then he has a little bump at the side of his neck. And then his wings are tucked in here. So he can come slightly outside. And then he's holding his head up quite proudly. So you can see quite a bit of his beautiful yellow neck, or chin rather. So you don't need to change too much on the front because we've already drawn the basic shape. And I'm going to leave the feathers, the edges of the feathers for last. So his feathers come down in a kind of straight, they're quite long. His tail, I mean, his tail is made of feathers. It comes down to quite pointed. And you can see two pointy bits at the bottom. And then we need to, it's quite useful as well to, well, let's draw out the rub out before we go into the pattern of the bird. Let's rub out the extra lines that we don't need. So the circular shapes, we don't really need those anymore because we have the basic outline. To make his neck a little bit thicker. So, and then here we can rub that out in the middle. Okay, so now we can start drawing the pattern on the inside. So I'll go over his beak a little bit. And he has a band of black that makes him look, it reminds me of warriors. He looks quite tough looking. So that black kind of goes up above the eye. So you can hardly see the black above his eye, but it is there. And then it's this band. It's also superheroes, isn't it, that have bands like this around their eyes. And it goes round, and then it ends on the other side with where his beak ends. Then if you look at the edge of each colour to guide you, it's quite helpful. So he has that patch of blue above his head, or above his eye, sorry. And that kind of goes in like this. And that's making me realise that his head's a bit too round and a bit too big actually. So I'm just going to adjust that a little bit. They're always different every time you draw them. So then we want to bring that, where that curve of the top of his wing comes down, so the brown part, that comes down in a curve like that. And hopefully you're all going to have fun painting this bird. And just, oh, I think I brought it up down too far. And so it kind of forks in the middle. There's a triangle. Get rid of some of the pencil lines. The paint should cover it up quite a bit though. And just going to make his chin a little bit thinner. Then he has a black band around the bottom of his chin on his neck, which curves around. It's not surprising he's the most colourful bird in Europe. He and she. I don't know why I always call animals he's. And then we need to draw this wing in. So it comes down all the way, and then it sticks out. I think I made his bottom a bit too big. And so his tail should be here. And that bright blue colour kind of stops there, and his tail starts turning green here. And he has a line, or part of his tail ends with these two tiny feathers at the bottom. And here, I just need to adjust his sizing a little bit. Oops. His feathers all end in triangles, making him look quite fluffy. I think he's ruffled against the twig he's sitting on. And then we just need to put in some shapes. For his wings. So if we come out here, and that's where his kind of orangey brown finishes. And then he has some lovely feathers that come out in some great shapes. All perfectly layered on top of each other. I really hope you get to see this bird in March, because they're really amazing to watch. And so beautiful to see. I'm just going to bring that wing in. And there are 1, 2, 3, so that's right. And then there's a blue bit here. And it's like that. And again, there's some other parts of the bottom of his wings that end in this lovely kind of purpley brown colour. Okay, I think that's right. Just going to draw in the twig he sat on. So I've already drawn it in this side. You should be able to see it where my march is sitting. So it's just a curved twig basically, and you can't really see, well, in the photo you can just about see his feet, but they're not. We could draw that in, his claws. It's not very obvious because they're brown. If you just draw, imagine claws gripping. So you can only see that part of it really, just his. Just make a suggestion of it. I didn't really draw it on the last drawing I did. Okay, I think we should be able to start painting. I'm just going to adjust his head a little bit because it's a bit flatter. So hopefully everybody else has a basic drawing as well, and you've done well with that. So next we need our paint brushes. So I'm using I've got a mixture here of, well, they're quite small really. One of them's really small for the delicate parts. And then some other slightly bigger ones. You need your water, some kitchen towel in case you need to make your paints less watery. And I'm going to adjust his beak a little bit, make it slightly smaller. Yeah, that's better. So here's my palette, and the colours I'm going to be using are, so this is quite an orangey yellow. If you have watercolours, it's called cadmium yellow. So I'm just going to squeeze a little bit of that into my palette.
We can use acrylic.
Yes, you can, because I know everybody, some people might have different colours, so they might not have watercolours. Just letting some more people in. Sorry, I only just noticed you joined. I hope you weren't waiting for long. Yes, you can use other alternatives to watercolor, because I know some of you have pencil colors or poster paint or acrylics. So I'm showing you the names of them in watercolors, but basically for this, if you have a light an orangey kind of yellow, that's the best one to use. And then I'm going to use an orange. I don't have a tube of it. And we need, this is the cerulean blue, but if you have a light blue, hopefully it should work. we need to mix a turquoise color. If you have a turquoise color, that's perfect. You don't need to mix anything.
This is good.
Is that acrylic?
Yeah.
Or yeah, you might have to experiment a little bit. The thing to do is, so put your colors in the palette, the ones that I'm mentioning, and then we'll test them on a piece of rough paper. So if you have a piece of paper nearby, I'd grab that, just so you don't waste your good paper. And then we'll test the mixing of the colors first before we use them. Does Zachary want to ask a question? Because I can see a raised hand. Or I think maybe that was you asking me just now. Okay, hopefully everything's okay. But yeah, let me know if you need to ask questions. We need a lighter yellow as well as the other yellow. So this is the yellow I'm using with watercolor. It's called a lemon yellow. Mine's quite dried up for some reason, so I've put some in a pot and sprayed some water on it. So hopefully that will be fine. You might need a darker blue. So I'm just going to put a little bit of that in. You don't need loads. And this dark red, this is called alizarin crimson. I don't know if I need any more than that. I had some in there from before. Then we have the cadmium red, which is it's a lighter red. So if you just have something similar in your pencil colors or poster paints or acrylics. And then this is, sorry?
I only have one red. This one.
That's fine. So when you need to make the put the red around the eye, I'd mix it with a little bit of yellow to make it a bit more orangey. Okay. This is a burnt sienna, which is a reddish kind of brown. And I've already got some there, so I'm going to leave that there. And then we need a black at the end. We don't need very much because it's just the eye and that band across his neck. And we might need a white, but we'll see how it goes. So I'll just put those aside for now and bring back the drawing. So for those of us who've just joined, I hope you weren't waiting too long, but I've sent the photo of the bird in the chat. So if you want to use that photo to prepare a basic drawing, basically it's like we did last time. It's just drawing that rough body shape in the middle, and then drawing a circle at the top, and almost triangular shapes at the bottom for the tail. Okay. And hopefully you'll be able to catch up with us. So the first thing I'm going to paint is the chin. And I'm going to use the cadmium yellow. I think I've got too much technology on at the moment. So, and I'm going to mix it with a tiny bit of orange because it looks a little bit orangey. So with watercolors, when they go hard, you can spray them with water So that's a light orange. And like I said, so you can take your rough paper and test it and see if that's the color you want. That looks about right. So I'm going to, looking at the photo, I'm going to paint the darker bit first because it edges towards a lighter color. And then the further in I get, I'm going to take the color off my brush and use water and just drag it, which is something you can do with watercolor. But if you make your acrylics or poster paints watery, you might be able to do it as well. I'm just going to make it a little bit whiter at the Okay, so next we want to mix turquoise, which again, if you have the color, it's quite easy. So I'm just going to make this blue. I think I told it's a cerulean blue, this. But if you have a light blue, it's it looks like sky blue. I think I might put some on there because there's quite a lot now in that. And then I'm going to take my yellow and not use very much because I need to test first how it's going to be. And test it on the page. And it's not, that's kind of the greeny color we need at the end, typical. I'm going to take a little bit, a tiny bit of that darker blue and mix that in. And a bit more yellow. You might all be doing better than me in getting this color right. You could also try blue and white.
It's coming out green for me.
I know, so is mine. If you...
Sewer green.
Sewer green, that's not good. When I painted it last time, I have a turquoise color. So let me try this and then I'll try something different. No, still green. Let's try mixing, hopefully everybody's got some white. So you might have white watercolor, and if you don't, maybe you have acrylic or gouache. Yes, I think this is going to work better, blue and white together. Let me try a little bit of yellow in there. Yeah, that's more turquoisey. Yeah, so if you add a little bit of yellow to that, so blue, white, and yellow, but not a lot of yellow. Well, if you do add too much yellow, you can always add a little bit more blue.
Is this color good?
Yes, that looks really good. Yes, definitely. Not our paintings aren't all going to be the same. So don't worry if, especially because everybody's using different things. So don't stress yourself out too much, she says. Let me just get the photo back again. Okay, so now we're going to start drawing his or her body. And again, I'm starting from the top. And then just bringing the color down because it's the wings are lighter at the bottom. Still a little bit green, but like, yeah, you can drop some color in. And it's quite nice as well sometimes if it's not just one block of color, because when you actually look at animals, they're never usually the same color all over. Then I'm going to do the same as before and clean my brush and just use water to drag down the color. So then we get to those pointy bits, these fluffy feathers. You can drop more color in if you want to. And if you noticed, he has some, he or she has a little tiny, very, very light turquoise color at the top, but it's very, very light. So I'm keeping my brush quite dry. I keep dabbing it in tissue paper, or kitchen towel is better actually. Yeah, any noise you hear now and then is traffic. And he has some tiny specks of it at the top. We might need to use a bit of white later on because it made quite a nice feather effect. Okay, so you can, sometimes it's quite good as well if you keep your brush dry, you can push paint around and pick paint up. So next, let's draw, or paint rather, the orangey brown bits, and so his wings basically. I used the, yeah, sorry, is everyone okay? Okay, hopefully everyone's all right. Yeah, let me know if you need to ask me anything, okay? So you can mix this. Yeah, hopefully I'm not going too fast. I've run out of palette space now. I'll bring in my other half clean palette. And so I'm taking this brown, this light brown, and if you mix that with orange, we should get the colour we need. But again, always test it on a piece of paper first so that you know that's what you want. He is quite dark at the top though, so let's try a little bit of the darker red you have and mix that in with that colour. Yes, that's about right. There's quite a reddish brown at the top. Okay.
Miss,
Yeah.
when we're done, can we leave?
Sorry?
When we're done, can we leave?
You're ready already? Oh gosh, I've only just noticed it's 10 to 4. Yes, that's fine, but it would be great if you wanted to share your picture with us. That would be really good. You know, there's a Facebook group. It's called Rascal Rangers now. Hopefully your mum or your dad knows about it. Yeah? If you want to, you don't. I'm not forcing you, but yeah, if you're finished and you want to leave, that's fine. Well done on.
I'm showing it to you right now.
Sorry?
I'm showing it to you now.
I can't. Ah, yes. Oh, wow, that's brilliant. Well done. That's really good.
Thanks.
On Facebook.
Well done.
We have this on Facebook.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you.
Bye.
Hope
Thank
you
you.
enjoyed it. Bye. And paint some more animals in March. Okay, so I didn't realise what the time was.
Is this good? Does this color good?
Yes, that looks right. Yes, you kind of want sort of reddish brown. So everybody might be ready, and it's just me that's behind.
I'm still in this part.
Okay, you're with me then. Okay, that's good. Thank you. Thank you for the reassurance. So, yeah, we don't have to block paint it in, so it is quite tempting actually. So we're coming down. It feels like it should be a little bit darker. I'm just going to add a tiny bit more red. And then the top of the wings. And then you bring it down. And then the color starts to become lighter. So, and again, if you wash your brush of color and then add some water to it, then you can just drag the water down. And it's also quite good in watercolor to use to leave some blank spots. And kind of adds texture as well. So now you can drop some paint in, which is always fun. Because then it just starts to spread, but you don't want to add too much. You just want to give an idea of the shape. And we can do the other part of his wing with the same color, because it's that orangey brown kind of color. And it starts at a bit more brown. Kind of starts in the middle because the top bit is a green color. And I'm going to add a bit more orange. Oops, too much. So then I'll add a bit more brown. Yeah, if you feel like adding some more color in other parts, please do, because it's your painting. Okay, I'm going to use the green. Hopefully everyone still has this. So this was an accident, but we can actually still use it. So this was the light blue and the yellow that we mixed earlier.
Is this type of green good, or because it's a
I think you might need a little bit more blue.
okay?
That should work. So, but if in doubt, always test it on your rough paper first.
Or dark?
So that looks about right.
Light or dark?
Sorry?
Light or dark blue?
A light blue.
Okay.
So then we can paint top of the wing. And it's fine if it's still wet. It's actually quite good because then it blends in a bit more. Okay. And then we can use that same green. So the tail well, it's the wings and the tail. It's quite green there. I think I'm not going to block paint it because I'm going to drop some more colour in. So I'm just going to paint some suggestions of it. And down here, it's quite green. And then here is kind of a mixture. So many different colours. I don't know how nature does it. So I'm just painting kind of strips really, because then I'm going to try, I'm going to use the blue. Or let's use the turquoise we mixed. And just drop that in. I might drop a bit of blue in. Okay. Might need a little bit of definition later on, but I've made that a bit too wet now. And drop a little bit more colour in here. And then the tips of his wings, I'm just going to use that blue because it's quite a strong blue. Well, I'll mix it a little bit with the turquoise, just so it blends in a little bit. So that's the bottom of his wings. Then it's quite blue here. Should probably, yeah. I'm just going to blend with a quite dry brush. Blend this in a bit more. You can use your kitchen towel quite a lot when you're painting. Okay, so the bottom part of the tail, I used quite a strange colour. I used the dark red. and the turquoise. Let's use this green. Hopefully this is gonna, yeah, it does work. Usually most colors, if you mix them, if you mix enough of them together, they're gonna make a brown, but we want a kind of purpley brown. So yeah, we just want to paint those bits. Bottom of the wings. And later on, when it's a bit drier, I'll probably paint some grey or some white to redefine that the bits where they separate. That's what I did on my other painting. So whilst that's drying, I'm going to take this brown and mix that in with the purple we just made. And then just paint in the twig. And the way I'm going to do this is quite an easy, quick way to do it, if I don't smudge the March letters. Just paint some water in at the bottom, and then take your brown and drop the colour in. And then to give it the impression of being round, sorry, you can just push the colour up, because usually they'll have sunlight shining on them, so it just looks like, it makes it look like it's round. Do the same on the other side. And you can kind of dab it with your wet brush. Try and give it the texture of a twig. Okay, so how dry? I think we can go for it with the head. Next, we want to use a very small brush for the eye. Now this bit is quite delicate, so I'm just thinking if it's better to do this. Yes, let's do this first. So if you take your lighter red, and don't use too much water, and we just need to draw the outline of the eye because he's got a red eye. It's a little bit fiddly, and I haven't managed to get a perfect circle. That's okay, because then we can go around it with black. And next we can paint the beak. So I'm going to So we need the black, but I'm going to make it a little bit watery, so it's not going to be black. And I've painted at the bottom first, the bottom part of the beak. And then I've cleaned my brush, and I'll take some water and kind of drag the paint to the upper part of the beak, because that's probably in the light, so it looks lighter in the photo. And then you can go quite dark with your black, so you don't need as much water. And we can paint. Let's paint the neck first, the band around the neck, so we give the eye a bit more chance to dry. So just carefully. A little bit more water. Okay, I'm going to make it slightly darker. That's what's so nice about watercolors, that you can make it watery, and then if it's too light, you can drop more color in afterwards. Okay, it would be nice to. I tried it on the last one. You can, to give the impression, because it's not quite a straight line, because I think nature doesn't do straight lines. But if you kind of dab a little bit of water at the top of the line, and it kind of gives more of the impression of feathers. Okay, and now we can go for it with the band on the eye. And then when he starts to say character, or she, I'm making it quite dark. And then you need to be a bit careful around the eye. Try and get the circle in. You need a bit of a steady hand. I think mine came out a bit dark, but you can blend it in. Okay, and then we want a tiny dot in the middle. And if you can, leave a tiny white dot. But if you can't, don't worry, put a little, I can't even see it that well, a little dot of white paint. that's okay. And I think he's ready. I hope you all enjoyed that and that you'll join us for the next Nature Diary activity, which happens on the first Saturday of every month. Thank you for joining us, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye!